Hello, folks. This is Chris, KY4CKP. Well, spring is in the air, and LCARA likes to stay busy, so that's what's coming up next on LCARA Ham Radio. Well, here we are, folks, at a recent workday at our second repeater site. And after a major windstorm had blown through the area, you can see that several large trees have been blown over or nearly over. And in fact, that one's resting against that commercial radio tower that's next door to the property that our equipment is on. And they'll have to work on taking care of that. There's another tree that was down. We've been working on clearing trees from around our equipment for over a year. This site had been used. It was originally a commercial tower for a paging system, and the landowner had pretty much ignored it. And so one of the things you'll kind of notice in the videos of this location, this is the formerly abandoned repeater site, is that most of the trees are not that large. You'll see some trees that are over 10 inches maybe, but you'll see a lot of them are 6, 8, 10 inches. And that's because really nothing's been done to this property in 20 years or so, 20, 25 years. And you'll see a lot of pine trees, which are not really the normal forest for this area. And so the landowner has given us permission to cut down any trees that are in the way of potentially falling on our guy lines or our building and our tower, and has also been doing some work to clear up the top of this hill on their own as well. They've had a bulldozer in there a time or two. So at this workday where we were checking the equipment inside our shack, checking the battery status and those kinds of things, we had some chainsaw and some equipment. So we went ahead and decided to cut down a few more trees while we were here, since we got lucky in this last windstorm. So as you'll be seeing, we went ahead and cut down quite a few more trees, small to mid-sized trees. We're still not done. 2 of our guy lines are in far, far better shape. Very, very few trees could fall and hit them at this point. But one of our guy lines, in fact, the one that goes towards this, the big commercial tower right there, this one's going to need a little bit more work. We did clear a few more little trees in its vicinity, but it has the most work to go. The other 2 are in pretty good shape after this day. So we cut the trees down, we chop them into pieces, and sort of drag them over towards the bottom of the hill where the landowner has been pushing debris and stuff already, like I say, with a bulldozer. So, this is just the kind of things that you might have to do as a club. Of course, if you're a club and you're more in a city or urban environment, your tower could be, antennas could be on top of a building. But you still need to consider maintenance. You still need to check your tower, check your connectors, those kinds of things, because there could still be wind damage or anything else. So for us, this is part of what we have to consider doing is trimming the trees back, which had been done in the past, but obviously it was a little bit past time to do it again. So, it's just part of what we need to do at our primary repeater site, which is all the way across the county from this one, and gives us pretty good reach between the 2. A lot of the trees have been cut down. We did cut down a few more, but again, also along the guy lines for that tower, we're going to need to do some more clearing, and it wasn't as overgrown as this location had become. Again, this the abandoned repeater site, but even the other site, we're going to have to work on the guy lines and trees that have grown tall enough that if they fall over, they could hit the guy lines. Now, our shack and our tower at that site is fine. I don't think there's anything anymore that's close enough that could hit anything as far as maybe the power lines coming in, but not the shack or the tower itself. But again, the guy lines, we have to protect those guy lines. So again, we have easements and right of way at that location. We can do that work when we need to. So now that spring is pretty much here, this will be the kind of work, starting to mow the grass and kill weeds, and those kinds of things are going to be on the agenda. And since this was a cool, what was it, maybe 45 on this particular day, maybe it hit 50 in the afternoon, but you can see it was nice and sunny. So again, we took the opportunity to do a little bit more of this kind of work, just to chunk it out and make it easier. We don't necessarily want to have to spend 8 hours of an entire day. Normally our work days are about 2 or 3 hours long. We get together and go to the sites and get some work done and then head to lunch. So if you're part of a club, ask about what kind of maintenance needs to be done, and if they have official work days like we do, say, hey, when's the next work day and what are we going to be looking at? You can learn about the club equipment, learn how to help maintain the club equipment. We certainly try to pass that kind of information on to as many of our members as we can. And part of that is simply, where are the repeater locations? Some people need to know that in case something comes up, and what kind of equipment's there, and what kind of maintenance is required. Now, one of the other recent activities, and that's just showing a stump from a year ago, and you can see how much it had grown up. One of the other things we've done recently, of course, again, we try to be a fairly active club, is we have our what's known as hands-on with LCARA, and we do these the third Monday of every month, and we get together and build a kit or teach the various kinds of soldering skills or antenna building or just whatever it might be. And on this particular evening, we were programming some radios, as you saw there, and we were also helping some members build some just sort of organizational kind of go kits for various kinds of equipment. Some of this was for testing equipment. You can see analyzer right there, and another member had put together a very nice and kind of fully featured organized kit there, the black box creeping at the top of the screen there. And he's helping another member to begin to build his kit with an analyzer he got at the recent Cave City, Kentucky Ham Fest. He got a good deal on that analyzer. And also KY4 BDP Brian put a little protective box together for his QDX, little small FT8 in digital mode transceiver that we built as a club, and to practice soldering skills and toroid wrapping and all that fun stuff. So helping our members program radios, those radios that you can kind of see sneaking in now and then. Those are DMR radios. We have two new DMR repeaters that a regional ham has been working very diligently and very hard to expand the DMR coverage in the central, somewhat eastern, western Kentucky area. And I don't know how many of those he's been able to put together, including antennas and so forth. And he's also a professional tower climber. So he'll offer to a club, hey, I've got the equipment and I'll put up the antenna and everything if you'll just, give me some space in your shack. And he approached LCARA, and we said, sure. We'd be happy to host another service, another ham service. And so he put one up at our primary site. He's also put one up at our secondary site. So we now have DMR. So as a club, we like to entertain and try to have the ability to work with as many different bands and modes and things, digital modes, as we can, because different people, different hams are interested in different activities. So we've got folks that that love things like FT8 and that stuff. We have DMR now. Of course, we have Wires X, the Yaesu branded stuff. We have Yaesu repeaters. We also have DStar and things like that. We have Echolink that we run, and All-Star. And so, again, as a club, we like to be busy. We like to do things and try to get as many of our club members as possible to participate. Some people like building antennas. Other people like building the kits, like the QDX kit. We're probably going to be looking at doing, some more of those more specific kit type functions at the hands-on. Anytime that we can help teach and practice, soldering skills and some various tools and things, crimpers and things, just so that that folks have those skills and can learn to do things for themselves. It's great to have sort of people in the club and Elmers in the club to help out with dedicated skills. But it's also nice to learn to do as many things as you can for yourself, at least up to your interest level. Not everybody's interested in everything. So that'll wrap this one up. This is Chris, KY4CKP for Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio 73.